When it comes to my own personal diet strategy, I use a simple method of mathematical calculations to calculate my macro intake and my calorific intake. Most important thing of all when it comes to testosterone is to avoid calorific deficit, because calorific deficit can of course have a negative effect on your testosterone levels. I will offer some advice towards the end of this video for people who are on weight loss to try and counter this effect. Now what I do, it's really simple, is I take my body weight in pounds and I multiply that by 18. This gives me my minimum calorific intake. I multiply my body weight in pounds by 20. This gives me my maximum calorific intake. This I do to avoid gaining any excess body fat or body fat that my body doesn't really need. Now for me, my minimum calorific intake is 2,196 calories per day. My upper limit is 2,420 calories per day. I've taken into consideration that I'm active and I work out and things. Now, when it comes to macro ratios, I have a range that I tend to stick within, which is carbs 35 to 40%, fats 35 to 40%, protein 20 to 30%. But in reality, most of the time I'm kind of on 35, 35, 30 macro ratios. 35% carbs, 35% fats, and 30% protein. Now for me, following those ratios, for my minimum intake, that comes in at around 90 grams of fat, about 185 grams of carbs, and about 160 grams of protein. Upper limit, that comes in at 96 grams of fat, 196 grams of carbs, and 175 grams of protein. These are just basic guidelines to follow. I'm not religious when it comes to my diet and I don't count out all my food. This is just a general guideline to follow. When it comes to your carb intake, the most important thing when it comes to your carbs is to consider your own personal metabolic rate. Fast metabolic rate, you need more carbs. Otherwise you're going to suffer with energy crash. This is what I am. I have a fast metabolic rate. If you have a slower metabolic rate, then you will need less carbs. And this is something to take into consideration when you fine tune your own diet. You have to fine tune your own diet to your own body's requirements. There is no such thing as a one size fits all diet. And it's difficult to ever present a one size fits all diet. Now when it comes to my fats, if I'm consuming, let's say I'm consuming 90 grams per fat today, I will be aiming for 25 grams of saturated fat, 25 grams of polyunsaturated fat, and 40 grams of monounsaturated fat. You need saturated fat in your diet because you need cholesterol. Saturated fat is good for cholesterol, and cholesterol is the building blocks of testosterone. You also need monounsaturated fat for many bodily functions, for joint health, bone health, and many other things. You also need some polyunsaturated fats, which kind of get a bad name really in the testosterone world, but you need some, and always go for good sources, for example like avocado or olive oil. Now if you're looking to gain weight, it's best to do it in gradual increments, just to avoid putting on excess body fat. You don't want to be making weight gains in body fat. You should be looking to make weight gains in lean muscle mass, preferably. This will be better for your testosterone. Now, what you should do if you're looking to bulk up is take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by 21. This is your minimum calorific intake per day. multiply your body weight in pounds by 22, this should be the calorific intake that you're actually aiming for, because you're going to need a calorific surplus to increase your body weight, and you want that to be in lean muscle mass and not excess body fat. Now, if you are on weight loss, the sad truth, the brutal truth is that you need a calorific deficit of some kind to be able to lose weight. So, but you've got to also consider that if you try to drop weight too quickly with too much of a calorific deficit, then you're going to probably suffer with energy crash and cravings for food, which are going to plague you all day. So the best diet strategy for weight loss, there are many weight loss diets out there. The best strategy is gradually. If you drop the weight really quickly, you are much more likely to put that weight back on. If you drop the weights gradually and at a slower rate, it's been proven that you are more likely to keep that body weight off permanently and not suffer so much with energy crash. Now, for you guys, take your body weight in pounds and multiply that by 16. You must not drop below this calorific number to avoid calorific deficit and serious calorific deficit, which is going to involve reduced testosterone levels and cravings for food and possibly energy crash. Take your body weight percentage, your body weight in pounds, and multiply that by 17. This is your upper limit of calorific intake, because you need a little calorific deficit to actually lose weight. Best method as well for dropping weight is to combine that with physical activity of some kind. This will help you burn more calories. Now, when it comes to a diet, it's really difficult to present a one-size-fits-all diet. And the secret to this is that you need to tailor your diet, tweak your diet to your own personal calorific requirements. Your macro ratio needs will be different for different people, determined by metabolic rate. Another thing is to include all micronutrients in your diet and avoid any deficiencies. I'll put a description of all this in the description below, because that's a bit much to take in. But this is a general outline for planning your diet strategy, using body weight in pounds and multiplying it by these numbers depending on which goal or result that you want. Most importantly of all, avoid massive calorific deficit, because that will be really bad for your testosterone levels. If you want to optimize your testosterone levels and keep them elevated as you get older in life, optimizing and fine-tuning your diet is going to be of great benefit to you in the long term. Subscribe to this channel and follow this series for more.